Thank you very much for coming. My name is Jonathan Wilson. I'm from WilldooIT, which is part of the larger Penors Group. My topic today is your accounting system an ERP solution past its use-by date? So just like with clothes we feel comfortable in, we get used to using the tools and accounting software we've been using for many years. Heck, sometimes we forget why we're using it. It's just the way things have been done. I'm assuming you're all here today because you're either accountants or you're customers of accountants, and maybe you started off with one of the brand name accounting systems, but now it's starting to limit your growth. Whilst those systems may have served you well and feel like well-worn shoes, you know it's time to make a change because you can see there are problems on the horizon. So let me tell you, we've been authoring and supporting and implementing accounting and ERP systems for over 30 years, and we've helped many customers make this transition to a new system. What we have learned in that period of time is that it's far better to be proactive rather than reactive. It can save a lot of time, a lot of money, and avert potential disasters, which unfortunately is what it takes sometimes to make the change. In this presentation, I'll be going over several key indicators that your accounting system has indeed passed its use-by date and it's time to make the change, hopefully sooner rather than later. After each indicator, I'll be explaining how a well-integrated, cloud-based, flexible system incorporating a large range of business application is the answer. And finally, I'll be presenting our product Odoo, which is a fine example of such a system and one that I'm sure you'll be impressed with. So let's get on to the indicators. So the first indicator is that you're using way too many systems. You may start off with your accounting system, and after a while you need a content management system or a website, or possibly a CRM, possibly a dedicated quoting or job system, and all these have to talk to the accounting system. What's worse is if they all have to talk to each other. Whereas an integrated system creates seamless workflows and procedures, where on the left-hand side here we had communication problems, now we only have workflow situations. You're talking to the one application, it's to the one database, and they're all linked together automatically. Saves a huge amount of time. The next indicator is that your current system is dictating the way you operate and you're starting to create workarounds or manual procedures. And it means that it's hard to grow because every time you grow you need more paper, you need more people. Whereas with an integrated and a flexible system, it adapts to your needs rather than the other way around. It's very important, the flexibility of that system, that it can adapt, because otherwise you start again to have to use workarounds or use external systems to get an efficient process in your business. This is a classic one. Important business processes are manual or highly reliant on one or few key personnel. You may have one person in your organisation who knows particularly well how to do things. This is particularly happens in smaller organisations. He holds the processes in his head, he holds the way you do things in his head. If he gets sick or goes on holidays, it's a real problem for your business. The idea is with an integrated system that you embed those processes, you automate them within the system. So now you're no longer held hostage to one or two people within the organisation. That is a big concern to small business owners. The next one, and this is another classic, you're starting to create islands of information in spreadsheets. Whether it be your landed cost and shipping, or whether it be some special reporting you're doing, or in one particular case I had a shop fitting company who's in some quite complex quoting on a spreadsheet which was talking to a secondary spreadsheet which had all their stock prices in them. They were quoting for a big job, but unfortunately they were linking to last year's stock spreadsheet. They lost a lot of money on that job, and that was their call to update their system, but they had to have a disaster to make that happen. Whereas with an integrated system, you no longer have bits of information in separate spreadsheets around the place. All the information is in the one database, and you have windows that look into various parts of that information. It gives you a full 360-degree view of your data. And as one of my customers said to me, I finally feel as though I have control over my organisation now. The next one is you're starting to grow, the company's growing. There's no support for multiple companies, locations, warehouses or division. You may start off at a home office, you eventually get an office with a warehouse, then you get several. You put in the same accounting system or the same management system in each of those locations. Then you're having to write another application that consolidates all that information, and finally you're reporting in another spreadsheet. That is a recipe for slow growth. Whereas with an integrated system, you can keep all the information within the database. To add another company, you just turn it on, or another warehouse. Finally, and perhaps a consolidation of all those previous indicators, is as you grow, as your turnover increases, your gross profit increases, but your overheads increase at the same rate and your net profit hardly moves. Whereas once you've automated all those procedures, you've brought them all together, you'll find that the wages and overhead, your overhead component stays relatively static. Gross profit goes up, but your net profit also rises proportional to your turnover. So what does an integrated and flexible cloud-based accounting and ERP system look like? I'd like you to show you our product Odoo, which is, as I said, is a very fine example of this. So I'm going to talk you through how this operates. So we'll start off with a small system and we'll grow it. We'll start off with our accounting module. With Odoo, we just install it. It's like a little module. We just install it. We set up some basic parameters, our company parameters, and we're away. Put our logo on there. And this is the Odoo desktop ready for operation. The accounting module has got a full operational dashboard for daily procedures, clean data entry forms for invoicing, full automated bank feeds and allocations like the name brand applications, and full Australian BAS reporting and full financial reporting. It's a very full-featured accounting system. But after we've been going for a while, we now need a beautiful website and CRM, which is typically where we move next. All we do is simply go back to the application shop, so to speak, and just install them. Now we have a system that has a CRM and a website. So let's quickly set up our website. It's a full content management system. We just drag the elements across that we need, insert the pictures, and make some changes, install our product highlighter, which we'll do in just in a moment. And in very short order, we can put together a very impressive website. So now we're ready to, it has a contact form which is already set up. If someone completes that contact form, it goes directly into our CRM, ready for processing. So I'm quickly going back. I've picked up that contact from the website, and we fill it out and we go through. There's a full contact management system here comparable to products like Salesforce. It's got full dashboards and KPIs, which are in fact all throughout the system. As we're growing, we need a full stock control and warehouse management system. Again, we just have to install them. So here we are, just installing those particular modules. Now we've got what we call a traditional ERP system, but now it includes a CRM and a website. So now our CRM opportunities are fully integrated with our sales and quoting module. So we quickly put together a decent looking quote. We print it off. Here's our print of it. Nice, very well formatted output for our quotations. And it is fully implemented. It's fully integrated with email too, which is right throughout the system. So it's got the email templates, it attaches the quote, and we're away. Across on the right-hand side here, we have what's called the chatter section, which is keeping a complete audit trail of everything that's happened on that particular order. It logs notes, you can schedule tasks. This is what the storeman sees, his dashboard. Of course, it's got full pick and pack operations within the warehouse, and full procurement and automated procurements in the purchasing module. And of course, once you've completed your sales order, it integrates directly back into invoicing. Okay, now we need to integrate to create a full e-commerce system. Again, we go back to the modules, install the e-commerce. Now on our website, we already have the stock because it was put in the back end to start off with. So let's sell a Mac with the suggested accessories, which we put together in the back end. So we're getting a keyboard and a mouse, etc. And that's all we had to do to get a full e-commerce site ready to go. The customer also has a portal. He can look at his past orders there. He can also pay his invoices. We haven't done anything. This is absolutely out of the box software. So now that's the order that's come in through the website, ready to process in the back end with the full delivery, picking, packing and invoice, of course. You could also get online versions of that quotation. The customer can write messages to us. It appears on that chatter section. He can sign on glass to confirm the order. And we move on. Now we have to customize. We've maybe got some new workflows. That's easy. We load up what's called the studio. Within the studio, we can actually create a complete application. What I'm going to do is move the customer purchase order up from one of the tabs to the header section of the sales order, and I'm going to add another column to my list view of my sales orders. So this is a complete drag and drop interface. There you see it. We have a new field on our list of orders, which is the opportunity where the sales order was created from. And there's my purchase order fields being moved to the top of the sales order form. But now the company's grown again. We need multiple locations, warehouses and companies. First, we have to turn on security to allow those users to create the warehouses. Now I'm in the security settings for the user. I turn on warehouses. And now I go to my inventory module, go to my warehouses, and I start creating another warehouse. Give it a name, etc., and a code. Within the multiple warehouses, we have multiple locations, replenishment locations, etc. Now we need to set up maybe a holding company, several companies at each of the locations potentially. We simply have to turn on the multi-company aspect of the application. We can share contacts, we can share products across companies. We can also automate the generation of transactions between the companies. It's just a matter of turning on the switches. And finally, we just have to assign different companies for the different users within the system. And we're done. Full multi-company, full multi-warehouse. But there's so much more to Odoo. I haven't got time to go through it all now. But please come and see us in stand A02. But just finally, as a conclusion, what have we learned today in my short presentation? Firstly, if you're experiencing problems with your current system and you understand there is a need to move to a more full features system, what are the features of that product you should be looking for? You want to find a system that grows with you as your company grows. You want to have minimal requirement for third-party applications like websites and e-commerce, etc. You want to eliminate the needs for islands of information outside of the system. You want to keep that information within the system. You want a system that will change. It's flexible enough to match your workflows. Can embed critical business knowledge within the system, so you're no longer relying on any one person within the organisation, and it has to be scalable. We have customers, I'm running it on my Mac at the moment, we have customers out there with 400 users. I can think of no other product that can scale like that. If we look at our product Odoo, it ticks all those boxes. We'd love to talk to you about it. Please come and see us in stand A02. We'd love to talk to you about it. Thank you very much for your time.